If you're having a bad day, just keep watching this video, cause trust me, it could be worse. So from a survival standpoint, our planet can be a pretty scary place. Aside from all of the death and destruction that we ourselves as the human race cause, planet Earth has been known to cause just as much devastation herself. From viruses to tsunamis and earthquakes, this space rock that we live on can be a real jerk when it feels like showing off. So this week, I collected a list of some of the most destructive natural events ever recorded that are pretty much guaranteed to make you feel better about your day. So here they are, the 10 deadliest natural disasters in history. Number 1 is Black Death. The Black Death was one of the most devastating pandemics in human history, resulting in the deaths of an estimated 75 to 200 million people, peaking in Europe between 1346 and 1353. The plague hit Europe like a freight train, killing an estimated 25 to 60% of the entire continent's population. The name Black Death reflects a common attribute of the disease, which would cause the flesh of those infected to die and rot into an ashen black color. So as you can see, it's lovely. The Black Death was also known as the Great Mortality or the Great Pestilence. It was the second plague pandemic of the Middle Ages, the first being the Justinian plague of the 6th century, which was equally as unpleasant. Scientists still do not know what the cause of the outbreak was, as there are several competing theories that exist today. However, an analysis of DNA from victims in Northern and Southern Europe, published in 2010 and 2011, indicates that the pathogen responsible was the Yersinia pestis bacterium, causing several forms of the plague. Wait, we have no idea exactly where it came from? Okay, well between that, Netflix, and the ability to order groceries online, I now have every reason to never leave my house. Great! Number 2 is the Spanish flu. Between 1918 and 1920, an unusually deadly influenza pandemic occurred that infected 500 million people across the world and killed 50 to 100 million of them, around 4% of the world's entire population. To maintain morale during the war, the governments of Germany, Britain, France, and the United States censored the virus's effects, but talked much about its effect on Spain, hence the nickname of the Spanish flu. Unlike most influenza outbreaks that would often take the lives of the juvenile, elderly, or weakened patients, the Spanish flu would easily kill young and healthy adults. The virus died as quickly as it grew, as it's speculated that the virus had mutated so rapidly that it mutated into a less lethal strain. This was the first of 2 pandemics involving the H1N1 influenza virus. That's right, this was the same virus that rocked the world not long ago back in 2009. I really don't understand how a virus can re-emerge like this after over 100 years. How does that happen? What, did someone cough in an ice cube 100 years ago and leave it in the freezer for future generations? Ooh, Grandpa left me an ice cube in the freezer, everyone. I chilled and drank with it. Uh-oh. Number 3 is the Afghanistan blizzard. You might think of Afghanistan as a smoldering hot country full of desert, but surprisingly, it can get cold. Really cold. In February of 2008, Afghanistan suffered the second worst blizzard in modern history with regards to casualties. The blizzard caused temperatures to fall below 30 degrees Celsius and up to 1.8 meters of snow fell. This resulted in total casualties of over 1,000 people freezing to death. In addition, at least 100 people were stricken with frostbite and had to get amputations. What's equally as sad is animals were the most vulnerable to the blizzard, as more than 100,000 sheep and goats and 315,000 cattle died. It's important to keep in mind that this was all at a time when the country was already ravaged by ongoing wars, which further devastated the country and its economy. This is really sad and almost hard to understand because as a kid growing up in Canada, the worse the weather, the better, because we got snow days. There was never any horrible pain and suffering. Well, you know, that wasn't until we had to go back to school. Number 4 are the Central China floods. In 1931, the Republic of China was hit by a series of floods that resulted in arguably the deadliest natural disaster of the 20th century, discounting pandemics and famines. The flood occurred after a series of odd weather occurrences in China. From 1928 to 1930, there was a long drought followed by heavy snowstorms, then a spring thaw and a heavy rainfall that continuously grew. Then, in 1931, the Yangtze River overflowed and caused a series of floods, causing millions of deaths due to drowning, disease, and starvation. More than 51 million people, or 1/4 of China's entire population, was affected by the central China floods, with the total number of casualties from the disaster estimated to be as high as 4 million. Exacerbating the problem was the fact that the government was ill-equipped to monetarily deal with the disaster after just freshly emerging from a war, as well as still dealing with an ongoing civil war. But at least there was a silver lining, which was... Nope, there was no silver lining. Just a lot of people died. Yeah. Awkward. Number 5 is Hurricane Andrew. When Hurricane Andrew occurred in 1992, it was the costliest hurricane in history. It was formed when a tropical wave moved to the west coast of Africa on August of 1992. Within only 2 days, it became a major tropical depression, and while its intensity was initially dampened by wind shear, the days after gave it time to develop into a destructive tropical cyclone. Along with Hurricanes Katrina, Wilma, and Ike, the cyclone spread massive destruction, with Andrew causing 44 fatalities and $26 million of property damage in Florida alone. But before it even hit the Florida coast, it hit the Bahamas with high tides, hurricane-force winds, and tornadoes, where it caused a whopping $250 million of damage and 4 deaths. With no electricity and no clean water, many citizens began looting stores, which of course makes no sense considering most of them were underwater, but hey, it's a tough economy, so a free waterlogged TV is still a free TV. Number 6 is the European heat wave. Between July and August of 2003, Europe was struck with the hottest summer on record since 1540, with temperatures reaching 40 degrees Celsius or higher daily. Unfortunately, Europe was not too familiar with scorching hot summers like that, leaving them particularly vulnerable to its effects. The heat wave caused a health crisis in several countries, as well as a drought that led to crop shortages, further worsening the problem. Almost 15,000 casualties were recorded in France alone, where old people in nursing homes were vulnerable, as well as single-family homes with no air conditioning systems. The blazing hot temperatures dried up most of Europe, which caused forest fires and, counterintuitively, even flooding. Before its end, the heat wave was believed to have taken a total of 70,000 lives. I'd like to point out that, ironically, this heat wave occurred during the International Year of Fresh Water. Oh, how cruel fate can be. Number 7 is the Haiti earthquake. What was once an unknown city in the Dominican Republic blew up in international headlines when it was struck with a massive earthquake in 2010. With a depth of 13 kilometers, a 7.0 earthquake rocked Haiti on the 12th of January just south of Port-au-Prince. The initial hit was followed by 59 aftershocks ranging from 4.2 to 5.8 magnitudes, and was the strongest quake that hit the country since 1970. The disaster led to over 200,000 deaths, 2 million people homeless, and 3 million people in need of emergency aid. Thankfully, the country received so much media attention that a subsequent outpour of aid followed, totaling over $195 million. As of 2013, still only half of the 10 million cubic meters of debris has been removed, with 20% of that being recycled. See, the media is still sometimes used for good. You know, when they're not controlling your mind, trying to keep you as a working zombie cog in a system that's just making rich man richer. What? Number 8 is the Nevado del Ruiz volcano eruption. The Colombian volcano Nevado del Ruiz is a stratovolcano that is known for causing the second largest volcano-related disaster of the 20th century. Generally, the volcano would produce Plinian eruptions, which are columns of gas and volcanic ash that extend into the atmosphere. But on November 13th of 1985, the volcano turned ugly and produced an enormous pyroclastic flow that buried and devastated the town of Armero in Tolima. Known as the Armero tragedy, the massive pyroclastic flow, combined with a huge mud flow, buried the town, causing the death of 25,000 people. Much of it could have been avoided because of early warning signs, but the concerns were dismissed as too alarmist and nothing was done to avoid the tragedy. You know, if you think about it, you really can't blame them for not panicking or even listening to the warnings. I mean, they live next to a volcano. After a while, the threat of living next to a potential imminent danger source, the shock and awe of it kind of goes away, so, you know, Not their fault, really. Number 9 is the North Korean famine. North Korea is known as a perfectly normal place where nothing weird ever happens, and it's led by a super cool dude in a stellar jumpsuit, so it's surprising that the country would ever face a disaster of any kind. Between 1994 and 1998, a famine devastated the country with an estimated death toll between 240,000 and 3.5 million caused by starvation and other hunger-related illnesses. The event forever became known as the Arduous March. Of its 24 million people, 5 million of them were malnourished, including 800,000 children that were on the brink of starvation. Those citizens that were further from the capital suffered greater, but everyone in North Korea suffered from this famine. The United States, Japan, South Korea, China, and other European Union countries provided food assistance until 2002, when the North Korean government requested that they end deliveries. Obviously, because North Korea doesn't need help anymore. They can feed their people just fine off of something tastier and more nourishing, like grass. And number 10 is the New Zealand earthquakes. In 2011, New Zealand was hit with a magnitude 6.3 earthquake that hit the country so hard that it became one of the nation's deadliest peacetime disasters. Targeting the second largest city, the disaster killed 185 people, with 238 people reported missing and 168 patients treated for injuries. Causing an estimated $16 billion in damage, the Christchurch and the Central Canterbury Church were completely devastated. And to add insult to injury, the disaster came just 6 years after a previous 7.1 magnitude quake that also hit Canterbury. Much has been done in the years since then to help rebuild what was destroyed, with repairs to damaged homes costing more than $1 billion. Man, nothing has rocked the country this hard since the New Zealand government realized that Peter Jackson ran out of Tolkien books to adapt. Oh! What, too soon? Yeah, my bad. Sorry. And that's it for this time, guys. I just wanted to remind you that your boy is on Snapchat. It's a really fun way to connect with me. I love to chat with you guys and live chat with you guys and basically just always update my story with really goofy stuff. So if you haven't added me yet, be sure to add me. My username is Matthew Santoro. My man, high five. Nope. Yeah. That's not really safe while driving. My bad.
I'm from Syria. Do you know Syria?
Yeah, man. Dude, you got the coolest hair. I'm freaking jealous. Man.
You got the coolest teeth.
Oh, man. Thank you very much. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give that like button a click, and if you want to see future videos from me, be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking that red subscribe button, because I upload every Tuesday and Saturday. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you later on both my second channel and Snapchat. Peace.